Chelsea Blue.
Hello there, I'm Jonathan, this is Gary, and we are normally Chelsea Blue talking about Chelsea, but we are talking about England, and in this instance the second game that we played against Ghana, which was a very disappointing 0-0 draw, which would still had us ending up as top of the group, but and I don't think we'll have the same problem against Panama. However, all a bit disappointing, Gary. What did you think?
It's this old story of when you get teams just sitting at the back with 10 behind the ball, virtually, which is what they were doing the whole game.
Whole game.
You've got to break them down, and we sort of fell into, I think, the traps that we've done with England teams in the past. I think it's quite difficult to do that because, firstly, the wingers weren't running enough with the ball, trying to beat the man. There was too much to sort of looking like they were going to take somebody on, and then they didn't.
It looked like very like Chelsea to me.
Yeah.
Very like let's be safe, let's not take a chance here.
Yes, exactly.
Except the difference being, of course, is that Reece James, rather than playing far back in the back four, is practically standing on the goal line. He's so far forward, and also the few occasions he did get an opportunity to cross the ball, he was very below par.
Yeah, I mean,
as were they all. All of them were crossing with it. Even the corners were overhit or played too short. It was an opportunity missed, but they were very, very good. Ghana, they
were good, and also we couldn't. There were no runs that England players made to get the defenders out of position. It was all very much in front of their defence, which is what suited them. We weren't. I mean, Bellingham wasn't making any particularly clever runs at all. To try and find space. So, of course, they're comfortable with the ball.
I just wondered if mentally they were thwarted by knowing that every single time they did attempt to get into space, there would be 3 or 4 players closing them down. They're very fit and very athletic, Ghana. And, of course, the annoying thing about it is that, all right, they're under the cosh for 90 minutes, but they do get breakaways. I thought that the penalty, was it Konza, laid in at the end? I thought it was a penalty.
Yeah, I think we got lucky on that.
He didn't play the ball. He just went and laid on it. But I think it's down to the refs. The refs are doing this European thing that I spotted the few European games that we had last year, where at Chelsea that is. They seem to be very keen to make their own decisions, their own on-field decisions.
Yeah, they are.
And unless there is an absolute obvious error, as I'm afraid I think this was, VAR tend to go with them. So
it's the referees controlling VAR in this situation.
Yeah,
far more
exactly, rather than VAR controlling the refs,
which is what
happens in England.
Yeah. I wonder whether that's actually presumably that must have been a decision made before the tournament.
Yes, I'm sure it was, because it's been consistent with the refs. But I'm afraid I don't like it. I don't like it because it isn't actually fair. Because
then you actually see how many times that VAR probably looking at something probably get it right more than wrong, and a referee, understandably, which we always know, can make mistakes simply because they're looking at it in real time.
Yeah,
and of course, when it happens this way, then there's no VAR overrule, and they think, well, hang on, that's a bad decision. So
the one law that they have brought in is that if it's obviously a corner, they now give the corner if the referee's got it wrong, which has always been my bugbear. Was constantly watching games and thinking, now hang on, we're in a minute to go and it's 1-0, and the team who's got nil are attacking and they have a shot and it's palmed over by the goalkeeper and the ref gives a goal kick, and you can't overrule that. Whereas it's pretty obvious to everybody, particularly the fourth official, that it was a corner. Yeah, they're now doing it. They're now doing it, which I is really worthy. I like that.
Well, I think because in those last 3 or 4 minutes in a game, when one side is pressing, they often will get it.
Of course they will. Of course they will.
And of course, it's not given. So
So the pressure and the momentum
goes the other way. He's up for the fence.
But no, I just thought that they're very, very well organised. Ghana. They've got some very good players. I mean, a lot of those players play in the Premier League or play in top class divisions.
Well, there's quite a few of the Premier League players.
Yeah. So it makes sense you're going to be given a very hard game. And in fact, the tactics that Queiroz decided, the ex-Man United assistant manager, decided to do were just to completely hold and smother. But the consequence was, of course,
he's a good manager in the sense.
Very good manager. He's hardly been there with them. I think he was appointed in April, wasn't he?
Yes.
But it just shows you, doesn't it, that it really is, if you are absolutely tuned into that, you've got a very fit, competent series of players, that is a viable way of stopping the other team from playing. But
Well, teams have won cups that. I mean, we know they've won cups by basically sometimes being particularly boring and getting goals on the breakaway.
Well, I think Chelsea did it to an extent
Yes.
under Tuchel in against Man City
And also
in
under
Porto.
Mourinho. Inter did it under Mourinho when they won the Champions League under Mourinho. That was a team that was pretty much defending all the time and scoring on
scoring on the break. Scoring on the break.
So it does work. It's not great things to watch, as we know, but it can be effective. But I also think that this England team seems to be set up by Tuchel in the sense of forward, without very much thought about sort of, well, if we can't break them down this way, let's try something else.
Let's try something else.
He was talking
I was scratching my head as to what else you could find. What else could they do? They played lots of long balls. I didn't think Gordon was particularly up to it.
No,
he wasn't taking anybody on. Could have substituted him earlier. And Madueke tried a bit, but he did his usual thing of cutting inside. You've got to try and go on the outside
this is the point.
And get the ball across from the goal line. And this is what they weren't.
And you could see Tuchel was actually in his he gestures a lot, as we know. He's very, very hands-on, but he was saying actually to the wingers, I want you to be higher up and take people on.
Tuchel was in his annoyed phase on the touchline.
Yes.
I watched him on several occasions going, no. And
also in the refreshment break, you could see him sort of going, well,
yes.
And clearly what he's saying is obviously is I don't know. What I don't know is why Bellingham didn't make more runs or attempt to make more runs to find space.
He's weird, isn't he? He flits in and out. He was sort of subdued. He was fantastic in the game against Croatia.
Yeah, it's almost. I wonder whether. I was going to say, could they have taken their foot off the gas? But they knew that the game was important to win. It would just give them. We were going to qualify anyway, but we've given us just the guarantee of winning the group.
Yeah.
Now, Panama, I don't think would defend as well as Ghana, so I suspect it will be fine. But you just wonder with this situation as the tournament goes on, and clearly, I did read a report was saying, well, Tuchel's built this team to play better teams and beat them. So in the thinking that if you play a
worse team, you're not going to do you won't do as well.
No, the team that's not going to sit back and defend all the time.
No, that's true. That's true. We'll do very well against those teams, but
yes.
But the lesser teams who will try and beat us by doing that and getting us on the break, that's going to be a problem.
If we play a Spain or a France or whatever, they are not going to sit back and defend.
No.
But equally, they're going to be more dangerous than other teams breaking forward against us. So you have to get the balance right. Yeah. And again, in that situation,
I thought the defence was better with Gay playing at centre half.
Yeah, it is better
rather than Stones, because Stones just didn't look quite on it. Really.
No, he's better. I think as the tournament goes on, that should be the centre back pairing, the Ghana pairing, because they seem more comfortable with each other.
They did.
And I don't think it was a game where nobody really stood out because we were almost playing to their rules, come up against us.
Well, we were very slow moving the ball. We were very slow in moving the ball about, weren't we? Yeah. Which
that's very much the Chelsea season last.
Yeah, completely.
I thought, he's been taking lessons from Maresca.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of it, look, no disaster. It's a point. We'll get the result against Panama. I think. I'm sure we will. And then it starts to get serious when in the knockout stages, of course.
Yes.
No room for second chances then.
No, I fear that we may play a lesser team and end up taking penalties against them because we just don't manage to score.
I'm just looking at there was some talk
what's happening in the draw.
Mexico could be, depending on if they win their group, that we could play Mexico in the last 32.
Right.
And in Mexico City, which could be fun.
But they're not very defensively minded, are they?
No, they're not. No, they're not. So you think against a team that comes forward, we're going to get space. We're going to have a chance to get behind them.
In the end, though, because Kane missed that sitter at the end, you just think, what on earth? The first time when we hit the woodwork, and
he leant back, and
leant back
in his interview, I like Harry Kane's interviews because he's great. Because he sort of said, he said, well, how you missed, that's unusual you to miss, and he sort of said, well, here it is, basically.
Yes. You're Harry Kane, you don't miss that. Come on.
No, and he sort of agreed with that as a third person. Yeah, he doesn't miss that. No, it shouldn't. No, but sometimes those things happen.